Yeah. Yeah. Seven and I'll see. Yeah, I know, but you're going to sit. I'll sit down. You should sit.
Watch your toes, okay? Please watch your toes.
Maybe cool.
Very strong.
Yeah, I mean, comfortable.
I worked at Cedar. What?
See, I heard you say Cedar.
I worked at Cedar.
Amy, you want to sit with me?
Yeah, you like sit, let's sit. Give it a little extra chair, guys. You like sit, let's sit. You like extra chair, sit.
Are you sure?
Yes. What is the chair? People sit.
Why? Because you think I'm going to break my neck going over there?
Right. Everybody. Yeah, his right. Yes, sir. Friends, in just a few moments, we are going to begin the funeral services for Syndee F. Miller. For those of you who are joining us here in person, if you have a cell phone or a pager or anything that might make a sound during the service, please take a moment to turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And we also thank you, those of you who are joining us online, to be here and to show your support and love for the family. Officiating today's services will be Cantor Scott Simon from Temple High in Long Grove.
Lakos man, weet lekol chayfetz, tachad hashamayim. Lakos man, weet lekol chayfetz, tachad Hashamayim, et la ledet, et la mut, et la taod, et la kornatua, et la rog, et lirpo, et nifrots, et nivnod, la kozman, veit lekol chayfetz, takad hashamayim. A time for birth and a time for death, a time to plant and a time to uproot the planted, A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear, and a time to build. La Cosman, Vedle Kol Kefetz, Tachat Hashamayim. Adonai mi yagur b'ohalecha, mi yishkon b'har kodshecha. Adonai, who may abide in your house? Who may dwell in your holy mountains? Those who are upright and do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others, nor wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless, but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come what may, do not retract, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live this way shall never be shaken. From Kohelet we learn, the eye never has its fill of seeing. Young or old, those who depart this life never see enough of the world, never complete their task, never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home. How they yearn for yet another respite from the final summons, and how we yearn to have them close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, yet another joy, yet another precious moment together. God, be with those whose hearts are broken, because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Console them at this moment. Be near to them when light seems distant. Sustain them, God, until the time of healing. This morning we have gathered as a community of family and friends to both honor the blessed memory and celebrate the life of Syndee Miller. We've also assembled here to offer our love and support to her grieving family, whom she loved and cared for and was devoted to all of her life. They mourn their beloved wife, mother, aunt, grandmother, cousin, and friend, and seek wholeness and peace as they bid farewell to her, their supportive, devoted, creative, thoughtful, and loving friend. We have all reflected on the fact that love can conquer the bonds of space or time. That when we have kissed our family or friends goodbye and put miles and sometimes even years between us, the love we share binds us to one another so intimately that it renders any distance traveled or years past as if they were but an inch or a moment. Our spirits and hearts seem to be joined in a place created by love that is ever present and immediate. Let us not doubt our spiritual awareness of this now, for this surely holds true as Syndee has left us on her next step in her soul's journey. For when we are friendly, caring, devoted, thoughtful, and supportive as Syndee was, and when we share ourselves as a supportive wife, parent, grandparent, cousin, and friend, and teacher, as she did, if we're good listeners, if we're helpful, if we give each conversation all of our emotion, passion, and intent, and creative problem solving, as she did, then our effect on the universe indeed endures. Blessed by the Creator of life, our souls will absorb and carry the spirit of all whom we love, all whom we've touched, creating an everlasting bond in exchange with them. Is there any greater source of comfort and blessing than knowing that more than our greatest traits, achievements, and shared experiences, but our true essence, our very hearts and souls abide in those we love? Could there be any greater gift or motivation than knowing and feeling that is the love and connection to our family and friends and all of those whom we've ever had a positive exchange with, that will also one day buoy our own souls and lift our spirits to heavenly heights as we continue each of our own souls' journeys. May we take comfort in knowing that Syndee's legacy will live on through us as we pay tribute to her now, and always as we do our best to emulate all that was good, precious, and true and enduring in her life. Syndee was born to Devorah and Norman on April 5th, 1952. She had a lovely childhood and loved her life in her school years. She belonged to a Jewish youth group where she met Larry when he was 16 and she was probably 14. Since he was the only one who could drive in the youth group, at the end of the year, she gave him an award for being the best youth group chauffeur of the year. Chauffeur of the year. Or excuse me, chauffeur of the year. In a Jewish community, you can't mix that word up. A few years later, after dating each other's various friends in the group, they caught up with each other again at a wedding. He was 21 and she was 19. She went with a friend of his as a +1 friend, and they started talking, and they talked the whole night, and they've been together ever since. Their relationship was at first long distance because she was away at school, and the phone bills at both their parents' houses and at her, especially at his house, since she would call and check in with him since she was at school, really racked up in those early years. Syndee got her degree in speech pathology and was a very busy speech pathologist and therapist in Lake County. She was a beloved and a respected teacher and therapist in the Lake County school system, where she worked most of her career at almost every school. And for 25 years at CEDAW, the School for Children with Special Challenges. She loved teaching and sharing her knowledge with her students and one-on-one. She was creative and had a very artistic eye and saw beauty and possibility in everything. She looked at her clients the same way and never gave up on them. She was incredibly dedicated and devoted to them. She worked with some of her clients for over 20 years. Long after they were released or no longer qualified from the county or state's assistance, she wouldn't leave them and kept working with them week after week or month after month, pro bono, even to the last few weeks, because she wouldn't leave them. She also volunteered her time and did mitzvah work, supporting various care and support institutions, the CEDAW Foundation, fundraising for Easter Seals, fundraising for the Brookfield Zoo, helping with Mother's Trust and other women's shelters. All of these places benefited from Syndee's caring and generous nature. Heather shared with me this attitude came out of her wonderfully giving and caring heart, but also was a dedicated life principle of Syndee's that she upheld and passed on to her family. Literally, maintain your connections and relationships. They are the most valuable thing you have. It was something she drilled into the girls and something she obviously practiced as she maintained all of your friendships with you for years and years. But Syndee had other loves that infused her life with joy and really were a symbol of who she was. Syndee really loved crafting. It was more than a hobby with her. She was immersed in the crafting world, and it was an outlet for her incredible creativity and her detail-oriented mind. She didn't just think through her end vision of what she wanted, or look at a picture. Her gift with detail and understanding of crafts and their construction, and her overall experience with so many different kinds of crafts, allowed her to see variations in the way a thing could be put together. And so the creative flourishes to a craft were not just adorable, but ingeniously constructed and presented. She loved craft show shopping and shopping at Michael's, and helping and teaching others to craft, especially her daughters and granddaughter Lucy, and even, of course, her hundreds of precious Sunday school kindergarten students at Temple High. She loved folk handiwork, and others' folk crafts and talents always impressed her, way more than high art or tech gadgets. She and Larry even opened and ran a craft store at Golf Mill for 5 years. Whether making beautifully colored paper beads or loom knitting dozens of adorable pumpkins or working with her students both personally or professionally, Syndee used crafting and, more importantly, creativity and attention to detail to heal, support, communicate, and express herself, and taught others to do the same. What an incredible life lesson and role model she was to all of us. Here was a person who fought against cancer all of her life, but who got up and embraced life, those she loved and those she cared for every day. Someone who could have let their own health issues depress her and keep her down, who had to fly to San Francisco every year since 1974 for checkups and treatment, and then through her breast cancer 10 years ago, and even the last years with her pancreatic cancer. She never let it define her. Never. It could have made her selfish and timid and keep her from the things and people she loved, but she always handled her health issues as a temporary setback. She figured it out, got the treatment that she needed, stoically fought like crazy, and got back to living her life so she could get back to being a friend, teacher, and creative helper to all. She would be so rolling her eyes at me right now for saying all this. Right now, in her honor, Aaron and Heather are thinking, all right, Cantor, take it easy. But honestly, how incredibly awe-inspiring and impressive. A true hero and mensch to all. How lucky her parents, husband, daughters, family, and grandchildren were, and nieces and nephews, to have such a strong and devoted person, loving, caring teacher, and playing with him, and of course her brothers too. All of these wonderful years. Syndee was an incredibly devoted teacher, wife, mother, and grandmother, who absolutely cherished her time with her family. Every interaction with them was precious to her. Her daughters were such an incredible source of pride to her. They were her best friends, and she absolutely thrived on being near them, whether teaching at Temple High with Aaron on Sunday for the last 20 years, or watching Riley, Zach, and Lucy with Heather, and of course weekends, family trips, shopping days, and just their normal everyday interactions, sharing time and her thoughts. Syndee drew strength in life from her loving relationships. She wasn't the loudest one in the group, or the one who said, I love you all the time, but she showed she loved you by making your life her life. She really knew you and had great memory and was incredibly thoughtful, and her thoughts and bonds were so strong. She was an absolutely fantastic and adoring grandmother and was an integral part of her grandchildren's lives. Her grandkids, their needs and their thoughts were her life. Was there something they mentioned enjoying, or an activity or restaurant, she took them there in a heartbeat, or gave them a gift card for 10 visits. Ever the thoughtful one. Something they wanted, she could find it for them. Something they needed, it was theirs. Time together, she gave it. Devoted to them in every way she could be. And they loved her with all of their hearts and souls. In these last 4 years, and really since they met, Larry was there for her full time, personally caring for her medical needs. He was devoted to her in all ways. And although they had fun on their trips to San Francisco that they took every year, and they made the best of it, as was Syndee's nature, he was there supporting her and making those trips and being there almost every time for 45 years. And of course, caring for her so passionately and desperately in these last 4 years. I knew Syndee. I'm going to try not getting choked up. Please forgive me if I do. I guess I've known her for 22 years. I'll stop. She was fantastic. We saw each other every Sunday, except summer break. Always her shepherding the kids into the sanctuary, or me going down to the classroom. And me being, she always saw me when I was completely whacked out, because I was, they're little kids, they're kindergartners and first and second graders, and it's just so much fun to play with them and to have a blast with them. And Erin was always there too, and she knows how crazy. Thank you. And she knows how crazy I am with the kids and how silly I am, and Syndee and I. Just laughed so much over the last 20 years. And it really felt like a shift. A lot of things had changed at Temple High in a short period of time. But it really felt like a shift for me when she was no longer there. That was a really huge change for me. Because we were just like partners with these kids for that 20-minute to half-hour slot or whatever every Sunday. And she loved it. She was... she never jumped in and entertained the kids with me. She always was kind of witnessing me askance as I would be completely nuts with the kids, and still am, and still make them laugh and love to do it. But I really missed her presence, and I know everyone in the school feels the same way. She was dedicated to the synagogue. It was a passion of hers. She came to tons of synagogue programming. Not just to the school, and she helped out in a million different ways, but she just was precious to all of us at the school, and we're all going to miss her very, 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 very much. And yeah. But always the crafts. Every time you go into her classroom, there was just stuff everywhere, and the kids were always involved, and that was why they always, not always, but often showed up late, because to pry them away from that project, they just did not want to get up from what they were doing. Whatever, it wasn't just coloring, way beyond anything I would have ever thought of. But I'd have to nudge sometimes, and they were always just deeply immersed in whatever she had put out for them. It was always just a pleasure to see her work and to see her kids come in so perfectly every class. She will be loved and mourned by her devoted husband, Larry, ever adored and loved by her daughter, Erin, and her daughter, Heather, and son-in-law, Scott Taylor, and grandchildren, Riley, Zachary, and Lucy, by her brother, Alan, and sister-in-law, Sharon, and nephews, Justin and Jordan, by her brother Carrie and nieces and nephews, Rachel, Shimon, Chava, and Israel, who will all share sweet memories of their sister and aunt. Ever loved by her cousin Cheryl and her husband Abby, and their sons Ron, Michael, and Mark. And I thank Abby and Cheryl for sharing so many thoughts with me, with the girls and Larry the other day, in order to put my thoughts together. Let's all rise for the Almalei Rachamim prayer. Pardon me. It's just taking me a second to find the right page. El male rachamim, shochein pamromim, amse menucha nechona, tachat kanfei hashchina, v'malotim kedoshim utehorim, kizohar harakia, mazhirim, et nishmat, Syndee bat Devorah the Norman, shalachah le'olama, Began Eden, Tehei menuchata, Hanabal harachamim, Yaskireha b'seta kenafecha, Leolamim, Utzeror, Yitzror hakayim et nishmata, Adonai hu naklata, V'tanuach v'shalom amishkava, v'nomar Amen. God of abundant mercy, God most high, may the soul of our beloved Syndee Miller, who has gone into eternity, find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace, together with the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold her close to you forever, so that her soul may be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May she find a home with you. May she find rest and peace. Together, let us say, Amen.
Amen.
We're now going to recite the Kaddish prayer, and then as the casket is being lowered into the vault and the vault cover is going to be put on, I'm going to do Kriya with the family. In your booklets, you can find the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah, Yalaman, Ibrach, Yirutei, V'yamlik, Malkutei, V'chaye Chon, V'yomei Chon, Uchaye Dekol, Beit Yisrael, Ba'agalah, V'izman Karim, V'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'olam Olamei Almaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitzadar, V'yitzalev, V'yitzalav, Shemei Dekudashah, Brichu, Le'elam in Kol, Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nekemata, Da'amiran, V'yalamat, V'yimaru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rava Min Shemaya, V'chayim, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yimaru, Amen. Osei Shalom V'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yimaru, Amen. May the one who makes peace on high heaven, let peace descend on us and all Israel, and let us say, Amen. Amen. And now we're going to take a moment as the cemetery grounds workers lower the coffin down and then put the ball cover on. And we'll all have a chance to participate in the ritual of Kruva, the ritual of burial. Tradition says that in the midst of a burial, even in the rain, 3 shovelfuls of earth must be placed on the coffin or the body of your loved one. So we ask that you please 3 scoops. Thank you. That was really nice. Go ahead. so sorry. God has given to us, God has taken away. Praise be God.
Yeah, he works well, right? He's good. He moved in 2 years. He has been working at I'm going to sue the Syndee and Tom have been meeting for the past year. They do their sessions every Sunday. Yeah, he hasn't seen her. Well, she was getting ready to.
Just by way of an announcement, again, the family will be together at the Miller residence at 32 Carlisle Lane in Buffalo Grove. They'll be together today upon their return from the cemetery until 8 p.m. And masks are requested when coming for Shiva at the Miller residence. The family has also requested that any memorial contributions in her memory to the Autism Society of America. That information is available in the service folder that you received when you came and approached the graveside. And for those of you joining us online, all of that information is available on our website at chicagojewishfunerals.com. Thank you. And again, in just a few moments, we'll begin by inviting the family to come forward to participate in the tradition of the burial, and then we'll invite anyone else that would like to come forward. Thank you. other friends and family would like to come forward, we invite you to do so from either side of the grave.
It's quite a look.
So friends, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the services here at the graveside. In just a few moments, the cemetery staff will complete the task of filling the grave. If you wish to stay, you certainly may do so, but if not, you may return to your cars and then also join the family back at the Shiva residence. Thank you, and again, this concludes the services here at the grave. Okay. I'm going to give this fine gentleman all that stuff. A few more.
How are you?